Kayode Adiolu Getokun, PhD, NPM, Deputy Inspectors, General Police, and other members of the Force Management team that are here, very senior officers, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Inspector General Police, I want to warmly welcome you to this media briefing tonight. I'm sure this was called at instance of the Inspector General Police to give us update and of course review of what we experienced today across the length and breadth of this country concerning the nationwide protest. On that note, I want to invite the Inspector General Police of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to please address this noble gathering tonight. The IGP, we are all ready for you, sir. Thank you.
Gentlemen of the press, it is with grave sense of responsibility that I address you this evening. You will recall that upon several indications by various groups of their intent to commence a nationwide protest on 1st August 2024, we rolled out several warnings based on actionable intelligence at our disposal, indicating that some groups were mobilizing for violent protest, while some groups claiming to be mobilizing for peaceful protest were doing so with violent undertones, refusing to cooperate with the police on measures to be taken to guarantee peaceful protest. On the basis of this intelligence, the police advised that the protest should be shelved at this instant. Where the organizers insisted on going on with the protest, they were advised to stage the protest in confined locations. This would have enabled the police provide adequate protection for the protesters and isolate the criminals whose intention was to loot and destroy in the name of a protest. This we were doing in furtherance of our duty to protect lives and property and maintaining law and order. While we affirm the constitutional rights of citizens to assemble and express their views on issues of national importance, we were wary about the dangers posed by agitation instigated by some individuals who have shown tendencies to be disloyal to the government of the day. Despite our suspicions, we showed good faith through professional conduct by providing security at strategic locations, all aimed at ensuring peaceful conduct during the protest, as the promoters pledged. Our men, deployed nationwide, went out with a clear brief to ensure that no one is unnecessarily harassed or intimidated. In places where there were court orders, we gave instructions for observance of same. Regrettably, events in some major cities today show that what was being instigated was mass uprising and looting, not protest. Those who were in the forefront of promoting the idea of the protest were not around to lead it. Hoodlums have been let loose on innocent Nigerians and their hard-earned businesses and property looted and destroyed. The motive of the rioters was basically two: loot and destroy both private and government property. The destruction so far has been mind-boggling. There has been destruction in Kano, Borno, Yobe, Kaduna, Gombe, Bauchi, FCT Abuja, Niger, and Jigawa. Police stations have been destroyed. There have been attempts to take over government houses, looting of government infrastructures. Several warehouses and shops so far have been looted and in several instances completely destroyed. In spite of the refusal of the protesters, for instance in FCT, to adhere to a court order requesting that protests in Abuja should be at the National Stadium, they trooped into the streets, and yet the police provided security for them. At no point did we breach their fundamental rights, even as they breached court orders. In places like FCT, Kaduna, Kano, and Gombe, among others, we recorded incidents of unprovoked attacks on our security personnel, where one policeman has been reported murdered and others seriously injured. We alerted earlier that terror elements may take advantage of the protest to infiltrate the crowd of protesters with suicide bombers. Yesterday in Lagos, our EOD team was informed of a suspected IED on Bakatoni Way, Ikeja. The team responded swiftly and rendered safe what turned out to be an improvised explosive device, IED. Today in Borno State, we recorded another incident of explosion which occurred in the crowd of protesters, killing 4 instantly and severely injuring 34 others, many of whom are presently on danger list. We wish to advise law-abiding citizens of Nigeria to heed and not dismiss warnings given by the police and other security agencies which were based on credible and actionable security intelligence. In the light of the current situation, the Nigerian Police Force has placed all units on red alert. Our officers are fully mobilized and prepared to respond swiftly and decisively to any further threats to public safety and order. We remain committed and resolute to protecting lives and property and ensuring that law and order are maintained across the nation. Groups who are hiding under the guise of exercise of a right provided in the Constitution to destabilize the country should also remember that the same Constitution imposed on them the duty to obey the laws of the land and respect the rights of other citizens. The police is equipped to respond appropriately to the unfolding situations and will get assistance from other security agencies, including the military, if the need arises. We appeal to all citizens to remain calm and cooperate with the police and other security agencies during this challenging period. Your safety is our top priority, and we will continue to take all necessary measures to ensure continued peace and stability in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, the Inspector General of Police. The messages were clear enough. The IGP, sir, if I have the permission of the IGP, this is question time. And gentlemen of the press, if you have any clarification or intervention, the IGP is ready for you. Lucky channels.
IGP, sir. Good evening, sir. My name is Lucky Isawudi. I work for Channels Television. In view of what has happened, would you be extending invitation to the organizers of this protest, those especially who have written to you and whom you have invited before now?
Thank you, the chance. Ada Bison Monoya AIT.
Good evening, sirs. My name is Ada Bison Monoya. I report for Africa Independent Television, AIT. IGP, sir, I'd like to know what word of caution you have for those who have turned the protest into violent activity today. And I'm also curious to know why you and your team of management staff are wearing this red band on your arm. Thank you, sir.
And, Ferdinand, Arise TV.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, just to circle back on issues concerning the court order yesterday, where one of the complaints from some of the protesters was about that they were not served any court judgment from yesterday. Please, can you shed more light on that particular situation, the court order and the efforts that were made to indeed serve on these parties?
Thank you. Francis from NTA.
Good evening, Mr. IGP. Good evening, the Force Management team. Francis from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. This morning when I was coming to work, I was also attacked at the Abacha barracks. And I have a question for you, Mr. IGP, sir. Some of the protesters have alleged that it was because, some of the operatives, so to say, or officers, opened fire on them thereby necessitating the action. I'd like to hear from you, sir. Your reaction.
Thank you.
First, let me take that question again from Lucky.
Francis.
And Francis.
You count the question.
Okay, Mr. IGP, sir. Some of the protesters that we've had cause to interview said some of your men allegedly attacked them. That was why they reacted in that order. At Nyanya Maraba access.
Thank you. Stefan. TVC.
Good evening, IGP, senior management. My name is Stefan Isen from TVC News. Just like my colleague has just mentioned, on the outskirts of Abuja today, we also came under attack covering this incident. And there is an observation where the demonstrators, there's an impression we have, or haven't observed the ongoings. There's this, there seems to be the fact that police in that location were overwhelmed by the sheer size of the demonstrators. What are you going to be doing differently?
Thank you. Then, Francis, you said you were attacked. You didn't indicate those who attacked you. You ought to have been specific. Protesters. Okay. Maraba Yaya Aziz. Thank you. Any other one? I think we are done with question time, the IGP. The IGP may wish to react to some of these issues raised, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, the first question was whether I will still be extending invitation to different groups who still want to stage protest. I want to believe that they have started the protest today. My invitation to the public, to those who intend to stage protests, is in the public and is still valid. So I'm not going to reissue that invitation. Then the lady from AIT wants to know what are my words of caution to the protesters. I want to caution that those who want to come out to protest must remain peaceful. Otherwise, they will not have it. We will not have a choice than to respond to their acts. Like what we have today, we had incidents of looting and destruction of private businesses. We are not going to tolerate that anymore. We had incidents where there were unprovoked attacks on policemen and other security agents. We are not going to accept that. So if I advise that they should just not bother to continue with this. When we talk about rights to protest, we are not denying the rights. We have said severally that we recognize the rights of citizens to protest. But this right is also not absolute right. The same constitution that gave them rights to protest also imposed duties on them. What our lawyers have been telling our youths is that it's their right, it's their right. Nobody is talking to the youth about their duties and responsibilities to the state. And that's the problem. These people should be educated. They should know that there are duties and responsibilities expected of them to the state. They only want to enjoy the rights and neglecting the duties. Those people who are claiming rights of protest, they should know that they have a duty to the nation, to respect the rights of other citizens, to obey the law of the land. There is also a duty to be loyal to the state, to be patriotic. It's a constitutional responsibility of a citizen of Nigeria. Nobody is talking about all those duties and responsibilities. All we are talking about is rights, rights, and rights. Yes, it's good to know your rights, but it's not good to take the rights and neglect the duties. The two come together. Then why are we on red bound? If you listen to my address, I said that all our commands and units have been put on red alert. So the red band we are wearing signifies, it's a symbol. Once you see us on red, just know that our commands are on red alert. Okay, there is this other one that said that the group who did not obey the court order claimed that they were not served. How do you serve faceless people? People that you don't know. How do you serve them with the orders? They remain faceless. So it will be difficult to serve them. Their threats were in social media. I think the other two was on social media. So I believe they have been served. The Channels reporter reported an attack on himself by protesters.
TVC. NT and TVC.
Francis, was it not Francis?
Francis is
okay. Francis said that he was also attacked while going to work. Francis is not a policeman. I don't know how he got attacked. So it shows that the intention of these so-called protesters are not genuine. Otherwise, why do you attack a reporter who is not in uniform? Then they claim that the police, first of all, attacked them and they responded. It's false. If you say that, if you believe their claim that the police were attacked, the police attacked them before they attacked the police, I will ask you, you're also a victim of the attack. Did you also attack them before they attacked you? You didn't attack them and they attacked you. So the police didn't attack them, they attacked the police without provocation. And I have said, we are not going to allow that, we are not going to accept that. That's totally unacceptable to us. Yeah, there was this one on, I don't know whether this is a question. You said that the police appeared overwhelmed. We were not overwhelmed. We have our standby units everywhere. We prepare for this. We were only civil. The fact that we were civil does not mean that we were weak. We were only civil because we were expecting them to be peaceful. I think I've answered your questions.
I'm sure, gentlemen of the press, that you don't have any intervention again, and IGP has cleared all those green areas. The IGP, sir, we want to appreciate the IGP and other members of the force management team and very senior officers who have been on the field. We have been managing this for a very long time, and I think we just want to tell gentlemen of the press that you please be mindful of fake news that will come. I know one of the challenges we're going to have is the spread of fake news. We want to urge all of us to be mindful of what we copy and paste, and what we share. This might trigger this crisis. The IGP has made it clear we are all on red alert. And we all saying to Nigerians, Hakuna Matata. We are in charge. Thank you.
Well, you've just heard from the Inspector General of Police in the briefing there. We'll have with me in the studio the Current Affairs Analyst and Dean of the School of Postgraduate Studies at Bayes University, Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Welcome to the studio, Prof. So we have a few minutes left. What are your thoughts on what the IGP has said?
Well, natural reaction, natural recap of everything that happened. But of course, this is
All that transpired today is not surprising. We know that protests will always assume a different dimension in this country because the youths, who are mainly the protesters, are not homogeneous. You know, the youths are disaggregated. The youths who are clamoring for protests are actually the educated ones, you know, the ones that are looking, that are futuristic, that want a better country, and that they have very good understanding of all the issues at stake. But the youths, you know, that are turning, becoming violent are the ones, you know, that lack understanding. So to say, they lack understanding. I don't want to use the word illiterate, and of course we see them on the streets. I also got attacked, you know, driving to work this morning, and I had to, at this point, I had to pay my way through. Thank God I had some change on me. You know, so you just begin to wonder, you know, why do we find ourselves in this bind? Why was it impossible for us to conscientize ourselves enough, you know, to educate as many youths as possible, so that, and so that we know that the purpose of the protest as one that should be change oriented and not the one that is destructive, like we are seeing across the country now. So the unfortunate turn around destruction is very unfortunate, unacceptable, unwelcoming, and of course taints the credibility of the purposeful, strategic, meaningful one that the educated youths have actually clamored for. Okay, Professor Deniyi, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching.